down before you, never, don't you dare
well enough,
put
folks.
your foot, your nasty foot, in front of my face. Everybody knows those movies where usually when it's the cop gets out of the car, you see the feet, then you kind of pan up. Right. That happened to me. That we all know the story of the man who ate the guy's face. Right. I wanted to eat this foot. There's nothing. I mean, show some class.
And let me hop in, Wolf. Sure. The key thing with this is one of our great points. Her statement to Wolf was, "If you don't like me, you can leave." Now, what does Wolf liking you have to do with how he's doing his job?
Correct.
Because from the way the story was brought to me, he was working. He was being productive. And she had a bone to pick with him because she knew he didn't like her. But my point again is, as a manager, because I've been a manager before, I got 7 years of manager experience and it's just completely ignored at our job. But I watch things like that because I've had employees that didn't like me. But you don't have to like me.
Right.
You just have to do your job effectively.
Exactly.
And I'm not really going to bother you until your job performance starts to decrease or deteriorate. And in a lot of our situations, that doesn't happen. We might have a certain way we feel about somebody, but we're going to work. And a lot of times when you're mad, you work better. As long as somebody leaves you alone. It's like you can be mad as long as people don't throw piss on the fire.
Right.
But the problem is they start peeing before you can even start finding extinguishers. Right? And that's the key, because I gotta agree with Lou. I was sitting there trying to think, like, since I've been working, like women managers. And please, ladies, believe me when we're not saying that you guys don't exist. We just haven't experienced it. So for those of you that are good managers and your employees, and they don't have to like you, but they do like you. For those people that know how to relate to people, hit us up, let us know, man, because we haven't met you. And I know as well as these gentlemen, the managers that they're talking about and the managers that we've dealt with, I haven't dealt with one that's been able to separate. I haven't. I have managers that treat me like I just started, questioning me on something you would question somebody in training. And they know I'm more than capable, but they specifically try to do things to get under your skin. Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, I guess it's my nature to ask the dumbest questions in the world.
When they say in elementary there is no dumb question.
Then that was a lie. We all know that.
I think that was a trick to see who could ask the dumbest question.
I won. Truth be told, anybody find it, I don't know, tad sexy, woman in power?
When it's done right.
I'm not attracted to a woman in power.
I know when it's done right. When a woman knows how to delegate her power, when she doesn't overstep her boundaries, when she has the power and you know she could do more but she doesn't. To me, the restraint is sexy because that shows a lot of maturity, and I don't know a lot of women who can do that. I don't know a lot of women who have all that power at their feet and they're like, oh, I'm not going to use that right now. They take it all with them. They put it on their back and they walk around with it.
Right.
This is my power, and if you bother me, I'm gonna unleash like Ghostbusters. Like, all right.
Right. It's like the guy who walks in a bar and says, "I'm a tough guy," as opposed to the guy who just walks in
and like everybody just turns around at the bar,
and everybody just turns around and says, "Who the hell is that?
Who's this guy?"
And he just sits down and just calmly goes about his business. But he's got like arms like Popeye, and he looks dangerous, like your dad. But
ladies, we need to know, like, is it something in you guys' genetics that is just excited of the feeling of having a power over a man?
Well, I think it's just the fact that most women in their lives, they never really have a chance to have that power over the other sex. Most women, they go through their lives either being demeaned, being messed with, being labeled as, oh, you're a woman, know your place, and now since they have a little bit of power, they try to overstep that power. I'm not a fan of a woman who has power, mainly because I don't think, not saying that a woman doesn't know how to handle it, I don't think they know how to showcase their power in the best way.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They have to do things aggressively, and that a woman isn't aggressive. A woman shouldn't be aggressive in my estimation. I don't think, they should be aggressive in some things, but trying to prove yourself over and over and over.
What are you proving?
Exactly.
And I think that's a good point, because men typically, in some form or in some way in their life, are used to power. We three of us being dads, that in itself is a power. You have to have a certain sternness when you're raising a child and bringing a child up. And even in your household, most men I know are the head of their household. Either way. So there's some decision making involved that a woman has no knowledge of. They don't have to deal with. There's a certain balancing act as a man that you have to have. Like I said, when you're dealing with kids and household and bills and providing, that in itself is a type of power. And even, I'm sure on your level, Vinny, having a girlfriend, a girl, when you first date a girl, you don't expect her to take you out and make the first move. She expects that of you. And that in itself is a power, because in a sense you have to be a leader to do these things. You got to know where to take her. You got to know how you want to impress her. You got to know how much it's going to cost. You got to know how much you actually have. It's a plan involved.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of that process women miss because of the way our society is, because of the way things are done. And that balance of power, once they get it, it's like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Now it's my turn. It's like, you don't have to do that, sweetheart. You don't have to do that at all. So, ladies, give us some feedback. I know some of you right now are fuming because you probably didn't hear anything we actually said, and you just took the little pieces out of it, like, oh, women can't have power. No, that's not what we're saying. We're asking you, can you control it? Can you have power and still be a regular person? Can you have power and not abuse it?
And don't get it wrong, men do the same thing. Men have the same power-hungry statuses that, certain women have. It's just that, it's not a good thing. Let me stop. It's not a good thing, for men to have that power. But I know these guys have dealt with men, and I've dealt with men who know how to establish power and do it in a way that's fair and equal and balanced, instead of emotion-based.
Well, you start coming into the workplace and you hate it because people have reached a point of absolute irritation and
drama.
The drama has just reached a pinnacle where people don't want to be there. People don't want to deal. I'm at the point right now where I don't respond when they speak to me. When my managers speak to me, I just stand there. And that's one thing that people have a real problem with, is they're not used to awkward pauses, and I use that to my advantage.
And it works
by not responding.
It works,
and I get a lot of "Did you hear me?" I'm like, I'm not deaf.
Right.
I heard exactly what you said. You want me to repeat it back to you?
That's how I got sent home. Because I said I would repeat it in English or Spanish.
Right. Well, you see, the manager that in question that you're speaking about, she told someone, or at least I believe she told Scott, or he overheard her speaking to someone, saying, someone had asked her, well, do you know if Lou had his evaluation? And she said something like, oh, I wouldn't ask him. He'll snap. And she was right.
Yes, she was.
Because anytime she walks up to me, I look at her like, what the fuck do you want?
But that's because she knows she's pushed the parameters of her power.
Yeah.
And she is to the point now where she knows people don't like her. Like we said with Wolf, if you don't like me, you can go home. She knows people doesn't like her. But she knows she's in a position where she's not going to backtrack. She's not going to be mature enough to say, hey, I'm sorry, I might have overdid it the other day. That's not what she's going to do. It's like she's going to make a mistake and stick with it. It's like the cheater mentality. Like, I might have cheated, but I'm not going to admit to it.
The fact that it got this bad where every single time you have a conversation with these people who are your supervisors, who are the people you should look up to in the workplace, the fact that you have to come back with such smart comments, and you have to be a dick, you have to be an asshole, just to get your side of the point across, just shows how bad and how, not, I wouldn't say inept, but how terrible relationships with coworkers have gotten with either with women and man, or man and man, or woman and woman.
Oh, definitely. In the case of this, the world's largest retailer, we try to go in and we try to do our jobs best we can, but again, it's nearly impossible when people want to bring in their baggage with them, and you have to handle not only the job, not only staying awake all night, but you also have to deal with attitudes, and then they'll come back at you and ask you why you have an attitude.
Let's not forget that rate of pay. That's always big. Let me tell you something. If I'm getting paid double digits per hour in the upper teens, I'm quiet as a mouse. He can damn near throw a ball of shit at me, and I'm like, yes.
That would piss me off.
But when you are getting paid in peanuts and half-eaten Oreos, it's not much I'm gonna take.
Not double stuff.
Not double stuff.
Quadruple stuff.
You know what? You're actually better off eating the half-eaten Oreo than the entire Oreos. That might be a good.
Our resident health advisor, Wolf Griffin, ladies and gentlemen. Eat your vegetables. He is serious about that, and they are good for you. But I digress. I mean, that's you know, I'm gonna cut it off right there because I feel like we can go deeper and darker because actually this manager we're talking about, she has a friend who is also a manager, and in my eyes, she is equally, if not worse. I believe we referred to her as Carrie.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
Really?
What?
Oh?
I think these men have just gotten
Carrie,
epiphany.
And if all of you have listened, you know, we talked to Wolf about Carrie because he had an interest in her early on. But as a manager, Carrie is just about the worst manager I have ever encountered. Go ahead, Wolf.
I think Wolf is bewildered at the moment.
Wolf knows exactly what's going on. Let the wolves. See, I'm now talking third person.
I love it.
Let the wolf make something clear.
Come on, the Wolf.
The wolf never said he was interested. He just said he would accept the offer.
Someone's getting pink over here.
Okay, he said he would
I'm
accept
getting
the offer.
red. This is pink.
Whatever you have to say to put you to bed at night. We'll take that. We'll accept that answer. So we're going to have a little fun with this before we move on. What's the worst thing a woman can say to you? Lou, we're going to give it to you first.
The worst thing she could say to me.
The worst thing a woman can say to you.
Boy, that's a tough one.
Like, I mean, if a woman makes this statement, it doesn't even have to be anything that is normally negative, but it's like if it comes from a woman, it's just like, what did you say?
Probably the worst thing a woman can do when she walks up to me is begin a sentence with either the word all right or okay. Because my contention is that once they say that, it's guaranteed that it's never all right and it's never okay.
For example,
okay, I'm having a problem with you right now.
That's very good. That's very good.
All right, I really don't feel like having sex tonight.
I love it.
Lord.
It's on you, Vinny. What's the worst thing a woman has said or can say to you?
Worst thing a woman has said or can say. I mean, it's tough. They can say a lot of things that can irk my
But I mean, that just sets you off. Like, as soon as you hear it, like.
Maybe something as in. I mean, I've had problems with women where they feel that I haven't explained myself fully, so it's interpreted as a lie. But the truth is, they just never asked me, or it's just something that didn't occur. It's not like, oh, I'm cheating on the girl.
That assumption.
Yes, it's the assumption. I hate when a girl tells me, why can't you tell me this? There's usually a reason why I can't say something. Let's say if I'm with a woman, I don't want to talk to her about a certain thing that happened. I'm still feeling it. I still have frustrations about it. I got to deal with it myself.
Right.
Now, when you keep bugging me, why can't you tell me this?
The word is nag.
Why won't you open up to me? Why won't you this? Why won't you that? Why won't you get off my dick?
Booyah. And just give me a second to breathe.
Like I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be disrespectful, but there's some things that a man gotta, take into himself with time to realize and time to self-evaluate. you know, and that's at the point where I was trying to self-evaluate, and she just nags. Why?